should be able to like make it bigger. Doesn't the little, but it's not doing anything. You think it's a search?
That's what it looks like.
But it's not letting you do anything. So anyway, so that's, and he's also the Beast and Beauty and the Beast. So
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get this program started. Thank you all again for coming to our new knowledge session. And we're lucky enough today to have Cindy Hagman. I don't know if you saw the, I think Sandy actually put it on LinkedIn so that we could, is that where you
Facebook, LinkedIn.
I've shared it quite a few places.
Yes, but Cindy is the marketing and social media person right now for Eastman Chemical, but that's not where her credentials stop. I'll let her tell you more about herself. But again, Cindy Hagman and our new knowledge session on LinkedIn.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually work part-time for Eastman, and I don't know what this is. But I have a kind of a long history within marketing, and but the reason that we're even here, and the reason why I've kind of had to change jobs a lot is my husband's retired Navy, and so we've lived a lot of different places, done a lot of different things, and every time we've moved someplace, because I have a marketing background, it's been really nice and fairly easy to find a job someplace in marketing. When social media kind of took off, it was something I kind of gravitated to. In 2008, I was living and working in Norfolk, Virginia for a big accounting firm, and my boss came to me and he said, I want everybody on LinkedIn. I want everybody in this firm, and there was 150 people in the firm. So I thought, oh boy, I'm on LinkedIn, but I really don't know that much about it, and I certainly can't teach anyone how to come on in, how to get on. You know, I can teach them how to get in and open a profile, but I don't really know why you're on it or what you're doing and what the benefits are. So I started my first book I bought actually that said LinkedIn for Dummies. And it was a great book, and they have updated it several times. So if somebody really, really, really wants to dive into this, I encourage you to look at probably the latest version of that. But it goes step by step by step, and it truly, truly helped me a lot with really exploring different. Now the problem with those books, like any other book that talks about training on things like that, is it changes so quickly. So by the time it's published, there's things in it that have changed or obsolete, and you know, like any other social media platform, the changes happen so quickly, and they're very difficult to keep up with. I'm on LinkedIn every single day, and I'm doing, whether I'm training or whether I'm doing, I'm actually working, I'm kind of all over the place with this background, but last summer, my husband was working, well, we were in Knoxville. He was working in Oak Ridge. He's in the nuclear field. He's retired now from the Navy and submarine force. And his company was offered him a position in Irwin, Tennessee, at Nuclear Fuel Services. And I had never heard of that place. I never even knew there was a Northeast Tennessee. I'm from Florida. Didn't know. So we drove out to the area and really, really fell in love with this whole area. And I said I would love to live in this area. And so we both left our jobs. I was working for an accounting firm in Knoxville as well, and as marketing, not an accountant. Don't ask me any tax questions whatsoever. And and he's at Nuclear Fuel Services. So what I did when I was moving is I actually put on my LinkedIn profile that I was kind of in transition, even though I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I found that when I left the Knoxville area, I had made a lot of great business connections. People started reaching out to me and saying, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? With different types of marketing aspect for their businesses. So I started writing content for websites. I started working with website developers on helping some small businesses. And I started doing a lot of LinkedIn help with companies to get I did social media. Just basically people say, I want to start with social media, I don't know where to start. So we would dive into it, figure out what the best fit was for them. It may not be LinkedIn, it might have been Facebook or something else. So I started getting all these like clients from from Knoxville, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, and in the meantime, it was kind of funny because I'd never thought about doing this. I was assigned like a coach. Part of my husband's career transition was to help me transition into a new career, and he came home one day, he goes, oh, they said you could have a career coach, and he was kind of laughing about it. I said, I'd love that. So I had this lady assigned to me, and we would talk every week and talk different things, and she's finally the one who said to me, Cindy, you just need to brand yourself. She said, you don't need to go work for any other company, you need to brand yourself. And I was just like, wow, that is so cool. No one's ever said that to me before. So I started working with people, and then I have a digital marketing company in Johnson City that found me. And so I do all of their LinkedIn training and for their clients and for them, and that's really fun. So in the meantime, I had Eastman Chemical Company reach out to me, their global marketing department, and they said, hey, you see that you're in this area, and we're looking for someone to help with LinkedIn strategy and some other areas too. So I went in and interviewed with them, and I was very reluctant because I didn't want to go 9 to 5. And I was just kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I want to go back into this. It's kind of fun doing your own thing, picking and choosing what you want to do, who you want to work with. And so they offered me a part-time position. So I work there about 20 hours a week, and it's very flexible. They've been great. They've been really great. So I usually work 3 days a week, but this week I'm probably going to work 2, and so, it's nice. So I guess my point is, if you have a skill that's marketable, people will kind of come after you. LinkedIn is a great avenue. I've had a lot of great success stories and people that I have worked with. I always tell them, if you have a success story, I really want to hear it, because there's a lot of times where I can use it and help other people. Because there's skeptics. I guarantee you there's at least one skeptic out in this audience somewhere that's sitting here thinking, I'm here, but I don't know why I'm here or what I'm going to do with this. And sometimes you can't ever switch the gear and change that skeptic, but at the same time, there's little things that everybody can use, no matter what you want to use it for. So does everybody have a LinkedIn profile? If you do not have one, would you just, you don't have to be, I don't want to, you don't have one, okay. Do you want to get one?
I don't know.
There's our skeptic, damn! Did I not tell you? What's your name?
Charlene.
Hey, Charlene, welcome. I hope you don't mind me picking on you. You can pick right back. Charlene, I will tell you that this may be a little bit over your head, because this is really for people who have them, but I want you to stay, and I want you to be patient and take notes, and if we need to meet afterwards, we can do that, or whatever. Okay, I'll be happy to help you. And in fact, what?
She's always patient.
That's good. That's really good. That's a good attribute to have. So why are you here?
I've been taking these classes and I enjoy them, and they've been helpful in business.
You have your own business?
I'm retired.
You're retired. Okay. So yeah, you're just learning. You're just learning for yourself. You're just trying to figure out if this is a good fit for you or not. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Does anybody run a small business in here? Oh, now you do? You just told me you're retired.
Well, I retired from one, but I have a small business.
Perfect. Okay. Okay.
Tim, you have one.
Part-time. I'm like you, part-time.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah, small business.
I know you.
Yes, Lynn Hamby.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, we've met on LinkedIn. See, that's another advantage of LinkedIn is I recognize his face because we've connected on LinkedIn.
A smiling face, right?
Yeah, I recognize it. And so, and I can't tell you how many times I've gone to networking events and I've seen someone that I haven't met physically, but I've met them through LinkedIn, and you already feel like you kind of know them, So I felt very comfortable going over and just shaking his hand, and it's because we're already kind of connected in that way. So it kind of opens doors for things. It's really, really nice. So what I'm going to do is, well, you got your cheat sheet. That's what I call it in front of you. I've been working on this since 2008. So these are my tips and my little pointers and things that can help you. So one thing that you have to do if you're going to be on LinkedIn and you're going to make it successful is you have to make sure that your profile is optimized. What does that mean? That means that you've got the right things in the right places so that if somebody's looking for your goods or your services or for you, that they can find you. So we're going to go over that today. And if you look at the little cheat sheet as we go through it, it'll say like little areas that need to be filled in for optimization. So certain areas are very, very important.
I got a question for you, and I may be jumping the gun here. You know, I work a full-time job. Basically, and I work in sales as well. But I have a business on the side, and the focus of that business is sales and marketing for individuals that I know that have left the military that have developed products that they need to get to market.
Yeah, great.
Now, when I set up my LinkedIn profile, am I gonna have to set up a separate profile for my business on the side?
No.
or-
You're not allowed to do that.
Okay.
That's, I've been getting this question so many times because there's so many people like you, like me, who have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn does not allow you to have 2 profiles. I'm gonna tell you right now, if they find out about it or somebody reports you, they'll shut you down. That's just the way it's set up. The reason behind that is you're one person. So if you identify yourself with 2 different profiles, it's very confusing for people, even though you have 2 roles. So LinkedIn wants you to combine those roles. You have to be a little bit creative, and you have to figure out how to do it. But I'll show you my profile. And do you have one now?
Yeah, this reason I'm taking this class,
Okay.
I haven't touched it in probably a year.
Okay. And do you know your password?
I can get it real quick.
Okay, I mean, I don't want it, but the reason why I say that is when people tell me they haven't touched it in a year, they usually don't know their password either. So I'm always like, oh,
They send it right to you.
huh?
They send it right to you.
Yes, they do. And that is if you haven't left your job and it doesn't go to your old email, which happens to a lot of people, then it's like, oh, then you gotta deal with LinkedIn, we're trying to get your password back and your email, so it can be.
Cindy, we've got close to 10 online. Can I get this in electronic format, or I can scan it, and then if those that are joining us online, if they will email either me or the incubator, then we'll get that to them.
Absolutely. And actually, I think I used to have it on my profile. If people connect with me, they can get it off my profile as well. But yeah, you can send it right to them. So, let me see if it's still there. This is not exactly the same thing, but this is a post that I did. I'm glad you have a sense of humor. But it's very similar to this right here. I just kind of transformed it into 50 reasons basically why you should be on LinkedIn. And it's very informative, but this one, obviously, you can send to people. I'll send it to you electronically.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go through the cheat sheet, and we're gonna talk about it step by step. If you have questions, just raise your hand or just shout them out or whatever we need to do, and we'll talk about them as we go along. It's a lot easier to do it at that time. So, when you look at LinkedIn, and this is what I try to tell people, is every single thing is like boxes within LinkedIn, and they're called sections. So when you go to your profile, if you don't have it complete, it's going to do well, mine is actually complete, but it's given me some other options down here to add these sections as well if I want to. But everybody, if your profile isn't like really robust and complete, it's probably going to have several boxes in here for you to say, hey, add this and add that. I do encourage people, to add as much as they can, but this little cheat sheet, as you go through it, will be the ones that are the most important ones for you to have out there. And so, starting with the header section, which is this top section up here.
Cindy, excuse me. My LinkedIn doesn't look like your LinkedIn.
Because she's special, she's a premium.
What does yours look like? Does it have your picture instead of mine? It's a little joke.
Is it because it's the
It's a LinkedIn joke. Yeah, you're actually on, if you're on a tablet or a mobile, it's gonna look completely different. And you may be confused, so you may not wanna follow on that.
Cindy, do you think that it also might be different because you have the premium?
No, if you're on a computer, it's gonna be the same.
Okay.
But a tablet and mobile devices look different. I mean, you're welcome to follow along with it, but your best thing would be to look at that cheat sheet and look at my screen, so that when you go to make your changes and make your notes right on there about what you need to do. And do you only go on your tablet, or do you go on a PC? You only do it from there? Okay, well then it's gonna be different then. But if you only access it through there, then go ahead and stay on your tablet then, because that's what you're used to. But I'll access it from my phone or my tablet if I'm on the go, but I always get on a PC to make my changes and stuff. I just feel a little bit more comfortable with it.
Does that help? The light on?
Does it look more like yours now? I'm just kidding.
No. I wish it did, because that looks really good.
Well, let's talk about some of the things on my section right here. So we're gonna, your header section, that's this area right here. You need to have a picture. Don't put your dog up there. Don't put your company logo. Your company logo, there's a place for that, and that's on a company profile. That's another class. If they ever want me to do a company profile class, we can do that. So make sure you got a picture. This right here is something new that LinkedIn does now, where they allow you to put up, and if the screen were a little bit bigger, it goes like all the way around, it wraps around. So in order to do that, you just click there, and I actually gave you the background photo sizes that you need on there. It's 1600 by 375 pixels. So I've done all the work for you basically on here. And all you gotta do is go in and plug it in and find it. But you know, I tell companies, if there is something, if you've got a photo of your business, or you've got something with your logo that will reach across there, and you're really trying to promote your business, this is a perfect opportunity to put your picture up there. Or if you wanna change it seasonally, just to kind of make something pop. So, great opportunity to put something back there. So, we're gonna start, we got picture, we got, make sure you have your name, don't have something goofy up here. You know, I got a request the other day from somebody that was like, Mama something or other. I'm like, seriously? Like, you know, no. So make sure it's your name. Okay, we're gonna talk about this right here. This is one of the most searchable things that you can find on LinkedIn. That's called your professional headline. This is where the optimization really starts. 120 characters you can use here, and it doesn't have to be your title. Don't put necessarily president of something. Put something that's searchable. So this is where those of you who were here a little earlier, and I was telling you a story about like my daughter looking for a job. If anybody's in transition looking for a job, if you put it right here, seeking or in transition, or I was working with someone the other day, and I told her to put seeking marketing position there, because it's so searchable. So, and a lot of people don't realize that LinkedIn is the most compatible social media platform with Google than any other. So, except probably Google Plus, but we not talking about that today. But so when somebody is looking for something, this is really key right here. So, and you might want to play with it. And if you're on LinkedIn already, you realize that this is how you edit it. I'm in the edit mode right now. That's why these little things are next to it. So you can go in and edit that. But play around with this a little bit. And but before you do anything, turn off your notifications, because as soon as you start changing things, it's going to shoot out to everybody that you have a new job. And how you do that is right here. Oh, it's not showing up. See if I can stretch my screen a little bit. No. Right here, there's a little button that says yes or no. So go in there and flip that off. Now, do you have that on your tablet on the front?
I don't know, because I'm trying
You're
to
not
log
seeing
in.
it?
I'm trying to log in
It's
Safari
not
so I
there.
can see.
It's not on the app?
No, I think after you do an update, it asks you if you want to publish it after the fact, I believe.
Okay. I'm not familiar enough with the app to know, but I would encourage everybody, and I leave mine off anyway. What? Are you sneezing? You okay? I thought you were upset because you just
I'm
notified
really
somebody.
upset about
Oh my God!
it.
But everybody has seen on where somebody's got a new job or somebody, you know, and then and I don't know if you've ever, I've seen this many times where I say, well, I know they don't have a new job, they're just changing their title or they went to one of my classes and I told them to change their title and they're updating it. And then they get all these congratulations because they get this thing that says, oh, congratulate so-and-so because they now are such and such. And I'm like, no, they're just the same. But turn off your notifications. Turn off your notifications. And that way you won't get those crazy. Now, if you actually do have a new job at a new company, you do want your notifications on because that way it allows all of your contacts to know. I'm looking at you because I know you have a new job.
Yeah, I update. I'm an all-star on LinkedIn. I'm just kidding. I know this year said that too. But when I got the job at People Incorporated, I made sure that my notifications were on.
Yay!
And people congratulated me.
Yes, and that's really good because it's branding yourself, it's branding the company that you work for, and it's also letting your contacts know, hey, she's someplace else now, you know. So it's more than just the congratulations. It's actually kind of like you just did a press release, basically.
Yeah, for people, and I did it on my Facebook too, and
Oh, good.
shared that post. So.
Good. See, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so let me go back up here. So, all right. So, what is your name, sir?
Robert.
Robert, you see right here where I've got my 2 titles here?
Right.
You want to do something similar, and you know, you and I can talk about best practices for how to do that, to market yourself.
Actually, I've got 3 jobs.
Well,
Sleep is overrated, isn't it?
yeah, who needs sleep? But if it'll fit there, we'll try to put the 3 jobs in there. So anyway, so a lot of this is populated from what you put into your profile too. As you go down to different sections, it's automatically populated. So you kind of have to play with the automatic population part. So any questions on your header? Everybody's good. Okay, awesome. So now we're going to move down. This is like my favorite section. So this is your contact section. So this part is, I mean, this is what amazes me the most is people will be looking for a job or they're looking to network or they're looking for business, but they don't have any information on here. How are people supposed to contact you? Yes?
And you have more than one email address, and how do you distinguish it from your personal life and government position?
Well, I have 2, 3, 4 jobs, whatever, and I just have one email. You can only have one email up here. So what I would, you know, it depends. How is your LinkedIn profile set up? Is it set up with your personal email?
Well, it's not for me, it's my husband. He doesn't have one set up yet, and he has a personal account, and then he has a county account.
Mm-hmm. It just depends on what his motivation is. How does he want people to contact him? If it's business, then he probably should put his business email. But he needs to check with his employer, being government or county, because sometimes the emails and things get caught in their spam filters and things like that. So he really needs to. Decide. I guess what his goal is the most important part. If his goal is to network and to bring business into the county or to get known, then he probably should have a county. If it's, you know, a little bit of both, like, you know, I mean, this, you know, LinkedIn, although I say it's not really personal, that's really more Facebook, you do meet a lot of people and you do make connections, and as you should. But as you're doing business with people or as you're networking with people, I mean, let's face it, people do business with people they like. So if you have a choice of who you can do business with, you're going to do business with someone that's friendly and nice and fun to be with versus the guy down the street that does the business, but that's grumpy and mean and not friendly, so, right? You know, for the most part, I mean, I guess if you do a really good job, but, and you're mean, I don't know, it's not my wheelhouse to be mean, so I don't know, but one email address, and your husband needs to decide which one he wants to put on there. He can change it, but he needs to decide.
Well,
What?
with county business, he doesn't want it in his personal, and when it's personal, he doesn't want it to
Well, it's
go-
not like he's gonna get flooded with emails from here. I mean, it's,
Hopefully.
you know, if he's at work accessing it, then he probably should keep it work. That make sense? If he's gonna just go home and access it, then keep it, you know, but, you know, county, everything is, you know, opened records, right? So,
Right?
might be better to do it personal. I don't know. It's
What
up to
about
him.
if he just has his email forwarded, like say when I was running the department and somebody got an email there, it was all forwarded to me.
Yeah, I prefer to keep my personal email because I have that with me all the time, and I don't get, you know, it's not like you're getting bombarded with emails. This is, you know, if people are gonna contact you, they're gonna contact you, probably send you a message through LinkedIn, and I'll show you what that looks like so that that'll help you a little bit with helping him.
So generally, it wouldn't necessarily be used by someone anyway who would be wanting to have a personal conversation with him. If he was to set it up with the government one, as the government one, or,
I don't know.
okay.
Honestly, anybody want to jump in there and help her with her question? I don't know. I used to work for a city, but I don't know. When I worked for the city, I had my you know, professional email address up there. But if I was on your husband's profile, pretend he had one, and I was connected with him, right here it would say send a message, and I could send him a message, and that message would go to the email address that's in LinkedIn.
Can I answer that a little bit? I might be able to help some. If you send anything to his government email address, if you sign his LinkedIn profile up to his government email address, all the information on that is FOIA-able. So just because of that, I would use my personal address.
Yes.
See, the problem with that, if they make a request, they probably can ask for your personal
No,
as
they
well.
can't.
They cannot? Then that settles it.
You can set up a Gmail account too and forward, like I have a Gmail account and I have my SWVAR account forwarded to my Gmail, so all I have to do is open my Gmail and I get everything.
Yeah, well, he does on his mobile.
FOIA only applies if it goes through the government paid for, email address, or if he's got a bunch of other council members or board
Can we
supervisors.
talk
on it.
about this after the session so that we can
Yeah.
let her continue going?
Thank you. Okay, so the other thing, this is a new button. Does anybody know about this one? So view recent activity. You can ask to be recommended. You can create a profile in another language, which, yeah, I don't know how many people in East Tennessee want to do that, but you could save your profile as a PDF. So if you were looking for a job and you wanted to make this into a PDF, you could do that pretty easily. And then you can also go and do all of your settings through here too, which there's about a half a dozen different ways to do everything on LinkedIn, just like every other social media platform. So I'm just going to show you mainly one way, but if you know another way, then so this part is your settings over on the side. You customize everything over here, what you show, what you have on there. If you do not have a customized URL, that's part of your optimization. You need to go in there and make it your name, because when you open up your LinkedIn account, it's going to assign you your name with a whole bunch of letters and numbers after it. So I tell everybody to go in there, and it's as simple as just doing this and putting in your name to see if it's available. If you have a really common name, it may not be available. You may have to put a number after it, or it's going to give you recommendations if it's not available, But I tell people, you know, if you have like an MBA or if you're a CPA or something like that, put those things after your name. Put a middle initial in the middle of it or something. Don't necessarily try to put like a number or something after it, but put something that's kind of relevant to you. But that's really easy to do. And then right here, there's a couple of things that these are all, whether you check the boxes and make them, these are all the sections that are available. If you don't want any sections to be public, then you can check or uncheck. The other thing is right here, make my public profile visible to no one. I've had calls from things like that before where people are going through divorces or going through things where they just kind of want to be under the radar for a little while. Rather than shutting down their account, I tell them just to click that and then nobody can see their profile. And it's basically that you unplugged, but if you ever need to do that, that's a really good option, because then when you want to come back on board, you don't have to recreate everything. Do you have any questions? You look like you have a question. You're what?
I was really into it.
You're really into it.
Yeah.
I like her. And you put the camera on her every once in a while.
No,
'cause she's funny.
no, I'm like way too expressive. For
Yeah, I love it.
Uh-uh.
I love it. That's why I'm like.
Sandy took a really good picture of me the other day. I don't know if it was Sandy or if it was Cindy, but when we announced the winners, and Danielle is like looking at Natasha, and then Natasha's kind of looking up, and I'm like this. So I'm all smiles, and everybody else is like.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, so we need to zoom in on her every once in a while with it, make it look like she's got that great expression.
No.
I should have started on our homepage. I apologize for that because I get so excited about the header section. But when you log into LinkedIn, this is what will come up is your homepage. You're going to create what you want to see on your homepage. So it's who you're connected to, and it's the news and so forth that you want to see. So, and it gives you a little bit of information. You know, how many people have viewed your profile. You know, I had an update. 329 people looked at this certain update that I did. Things like that. When you want to share an update or a post, which is the same thing, you can do it right here. And you just type in if I can spell. I can't spell. And this is the Virginia
Highlands Small Business Incubator New Knowledge Series.
Are you on? Do you guys have a group or anything? in
No,
here?
we have not on LinkedIn.
Small Business Incubator.
Yeah, Small Business Incubator, and this is the New Knowledge Series.
Let's advertise it. Noon?
Noon.
Sorry.
High noon.
I like.
And in general, our incubator doesn't show up on things unless the Virginia's spelled out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like our Facebook page, Virginia's spelled out.
Oh, golly. It's like Tennessee with the TN, right?
Yeah.
New knowledge.
Series.
I spelled knowledge wrong.
Series.
I don't think you have to spell to be on social media, right? Thank goodness.
It'll correct you.
Take your mittens off. Maybe
It's
that'll-
not great about correcting. I mean, it does a little bit, but not great. So I'm just gonna, if I had a photo, like if I wanted to have fun and do like a selfie or something, I could actually upload a photo right here. If you have a photo that you want to share, you know, save it on your desktop, go to it right here, that type of thing. It's really, really easy. The other thing that's nice is that if you have a Twitter account and you want to tweet at the same time, you can do it at the same time if they're connected. So I'm going to share this, and so that's how easy it is to do a post. Now, if you want to grab a link, which I do this a lot, you open up another tab and you go to another website, say there's a story and you want to grab that link, you grab the link, and then when you share your update, do you want me to show you how to do it? Does everybody know how to do it? Some people are shaking their heads and some people. Are you guys on Facebook? Have you shared updates on Facebook like this with the URLs? So you know how to do it. LinkedIn is exactly the same way. What's nice about it is when you share that URL, so let's say if I share this, I don't really want to, but we'll just pretend like I'm going to. Because I want to show you how it populates it and makes it really easy. So I'm going to paste that URL right here and give it a second. And it's looking for that URL, and it's going to populate the story where it's spinning and put the photo. So then you've got an opportunity, and this is a big mistake that people do. Be sure you go in and remove this link and then put something about this story in this. You've got a whole section here to say why you're sharing the story. So take advantage of it. So just say, hey, great story about McDonald's or whatever. So if you're promoting something with another business or your own business or something, make sure that you take advantage of this real estate right here. Because otherwise it's just going to show up like remove that link because it's already embedded. So you can go ahead and do it. It also gives you the option of right here. This is new. They just did this and it's kind of driving me crazy. But you can do it with Twitter or just your connections or with the public. So I'm actually not going to share that. I'm going to X out of it. It's that easy too. The other thing, I get this question a lot. If you posted something and then you go in and you go, you know what? That's got a typo in it or blah, blah, blah. You just go in and delete it. And right here, see that little thing how it popped up, that post that I just did? And you hit delete and it goes away. So that's as simple as that. Anybody have any questions on posting? I encourage you to post. I can encourage you to like. I encourage you to share different things. So when you're on your homepage and you see a story or you see things, that's how people find you. That's how things go viral. That's exactly how it happens. So read the stories and go in and so how do you get things populated on this page? You see that thing that says follow? It's going to try to feed you companies and influencers, which are people, for you to follow. And if you want to follow them, it's as simple as clicking yes, and then that stuff gets, if you don't want to see it, you just hide it, and it goes away. And then it realizes that you don't like that kind of stuff. It's trying to figure out what you like and what you don't like. So this lady, I would encourage people, if you really are into LinkedIn, she's one of my favorite people. She has taught me so much. I don't know her personally, but she is the LinkedIn guru. I'm telling you right now, this lady is amazing. And she taught me so much about LinkedIn, and a lot of her little tips and cheat things are on here because she does webinars and things like that. And that's how I've had. But she reaches out to me every once in a while because she knows I'm a trainer, and she'll ask me questions and things like that, which is pretty cool. She's very involved with LinkedIn and what's going on with it. So if you want to follow somebody who knows her stuff, she's awesome. Besides me, but I learned from her. But she also posts really good articles about LinkedIn, so I highly recommend. So. But anyway, the other thing that I want you to do is to go, how you figure out what is on here is you go to the interests and then you go down to pulse. My pulse is going to look a little different than somebody who hasn't populated theirs yet because I've already, they changed it. Look at that. Wow. Okay. So now my pulse is already populated. When you log into this, it's probably not going to be populated. It's probably going to be squares, and it's going to say, do you want to follow Forbes? Do you want to follow Mashable? Do you want to follow, Deepak Chopra? Do you want to follow, Richard Branson, and it's because it throws stuff at you. Are you into marketing? Are you into technology? Are you into finance? So it's going to send you these blocks, and you're gonna just check whether you're interested in following that stuff. And if you are, then it's going to start feeding stories to you. And most of that stuff will show up on your news feed. Now this has changed. I apologize. I didn't know they changed it again. They must have just done this. But now it's just feeding me like stories like this. That's kind of crazy. It used to come up and show you, a lot more. But yours will look a little bit different if you haven't been following people yet. I encourage you to go in there, and this customizes your news sources and the people and resources that you want to follow. So go ahead and do that when you get a chance, and that way you're customizing your feed is basically what you're doing on what you want to see and who you want to hear from. And there's a lot of things within interest. You've got companies to follow. I encourage you to go in. If there's companies that are in the area or even national companies, follow them. Join groups, we'll go into that a little bit more. Pulse is where the news is. Education is brand new as well. They just reduced the age limit on LinkedIn, and they allow like teenagers now to get on here. And I'll tell you why I think it's a good thing, but I don't. It's double-edged sword. So when my kids were in high school, I set up LinkedIn profiles for them, but they weren't public. They were only private. And the only reason I did it was that we could start building kind of their resume, their bio, not because we knew they'd be applying for college, so we would need every time they went to volunteer someplace, every time they got an award, the different things that they did, we would just populate it within LinkedIn. So we had an electronic version of everything that they did. So it was for our resources, not to have all these papers and say, no, what year did you go, on that mission trip, or what did you do that? We had it all right here in one concise place. So then we started filling out applications for colleges and scholarships. It was a lot easier. Everything was right there. And we could just pull from it. And then we made them profile public when they got 18. But they have done that, and I think they've gone into this whole education thing, and it's kind of cool, but they haven't done a lot of publicizing it yet. Kids can go on here and they can go in and look at different colleges and how they rank, and they can put in what their major, what they're interested in, and it'll feed them the best colleges to go to. It's kind of cool, so I encourage you, if you have kids or grandkids or anybody who might be in this, in this wheelhouse, to look at it. It's brand new. Like, I just discovered it like 2 weeks ago when I was in here playing around. I was like, whoa, what is this? And that's kind of how it works on LinkedIn. You kind of have to get in there and play around with it. It's very neat, but they're just kind of working the whole thing out yet. Does anybody use Slideshare?
Love it.
If you don't use Slideshare, I would highly recommend you to go in and play around with Slideshare. And do you share things on it, or you just steal?
Oh yeah, I'll probably use it for 5 or 6 years.
I steal a lot from there, but not steal like
Borrow.
It sounds terrible.
Borrow.
If you do a presentation and it's you're proud of it, or it's something that people can will value, add value to somebody, you can publish it on Slideshare, as long as you don't mind if people use it and or parts of it. What I find very valuable, if I'm doing a LinkedIn training for a particular group of people that may require certain things, I'll go in there and maybe borrow some slides. I'll use your word, borrow, and not the whole presentation, but you can. I mean, it's perfectly okay, as long as you don't put your name on it. You say, well, I got this from so and so, but this is a great slide, or this is a video or presentation. So it's a great. I love it.
I do not only presentations, but like I had this flyer for this event on Slideshare, and then I posted it to my other social media channels through Slideshare. But what I like about that is I can see how many people's actually viewed it.
Yeah.
And open.
There's great stuff on there. You can go to Slideshare and search for almost any topic in the business, and there's probably a presentation, or like if you're trying to educate yourself on something, like I go to YouTube a lot to learn how to, and I'm left-handed. I was trying to learn how to crochet. I went to YouTube, how does a left-handed person crochet, because I was like, oh, I can't. I'm very coordinated. I could not crochet, And my teacher was like I was failing the class because she was like, you can't do this, and I was just, oh, so I kept going on YouTube and trying to learn, and I love YouTube, but Slideshare is like my, like my second backup. It's just not as, YouTube's right there, and I ended up dropping out of the class. I was really, it's a failure, crochet failure. It was awful. I'm telling you, I'm still scarred from it. It was awful. So, bad experience. So anyway, you can absolutely go, customize your feed and, and have fun with it. Follow people, share things. Yes?
What was the difference between Slideshare and Slideshare and online learning?
You know what? That's a really good question. I don't even know what online learning is. I'm afraid it's going to take me someplace else.
Oh,
It is.
that's
Oh, lynda.com. Okay, lynda.com just got purchased by LinkedIn. And if you're not familiar with lynda.com, it's a great, it's a website that does training, right? And it's a paid subscription, but you can go in there and learn Microsoft Office. You can learn Excel. You can learn any type of. Oh, there you go. Well, duh, I hadn't even seen it. So this is all new, but it is a paid, and it says try it free. But I'm going to tell you, they contacted me, and they want you to put a credit card in. Anything's free, I should not have put my credit card in there. I'm sorry. That's, and I actually sent them an email because it said, well, after 30 days, we'll bill you if you don't cancel. I'm like, no. Let me try it for 30 days and then shut it down, and if I want it, So I actually gave.
Salesforce, you can get it free for 14 days when I first started using that. They don't want any information until you're ready to subscribe.
And that's the way it should be. And I actually got onto LinkedIn about it, but they don't really care about me. But I still felt like I needed to let them know.
Well, now, when I first tried it was free for it was either 2 weeks or a month.
What, Linda?
Lynda.com. Well, I had to put a credit card in. And I said I'm not going to do it. I mean, I've used lynda.com at different companies that I work for. But is that when it was associated with LinkedIn?
I don't know. This was back.
Probably not, because they just acquired it recently. When did they acquire it? It was like 2 months ago.
I'd say month.
Yeah,
Even less
very,
than that.
Okay.
very
Yeah, this was
recently.
right before then.
Yeah. So LinkedIn, like every other business too, they're trying to figure out how to make money and how to, so they do a lot more. They do ads. They do a lot of things now that they used to not really do. They're dabbling in all kinds of stuff, but they just acquired lynda.com, so that's why it's changed. I have no doubt that it used to probably be truly free, but once LinkedIn got a hold of it, forget it. And somebody touched on the fact that I have a business account. And I don't necessarily recommend you to have a business account. I get that question a lot. Only if you're going to get in there and be a power user. Does anybody have a business account? So if you really want to have a business account, talk to me about it, or send me a message, connect with me or whatever, and we'll talk about whether it's the best fit for you or not. I want to make sure that people are truly utilizing, to their advantage and not just paying for. I pay about $250 a year for mine, which is not bad. Because there's some of them out there that are $2,000 or $3,000 that are, and they're not. And I train people and they don't even know what they've got. I'm like, why are you paying for that? That's a whole other story. Okay. I want to show you the contact section from a different person's, someone that I'm connected to. So let me go to my connections and just pull somebody random up. Hopefully it won't be anybody that, does anybody know Joe Wise? Okay, I'll pick on Joe. I'm not picking on him, so we're gonna talk about this in a minute too. This is your skills and expertise, which is skills and endorsements. And it pops up and it asks you to recommend them for things. It's kind of a pain, but I'm gonna go over that in a minute with you. And, so you can just X out of it. But I actually have worked with Joe on his profile, so he's got a nice picture up here, and so I'm not really picking on him, but I do want to show you a few things. We were talking about, I'm connected to him, so if I want to send him a message, I can just click on that, and a message will go to Joe. if I wanted to go on here and see what Joe's recent activity is, I could click on this, and it'll show me, oh, I'm not a very good teacher, he hasn't done anything. So this actually helps me a lot. I do this a lot when I give, especially one-on-one training to people. I will say, I'm gonna check on your profile and see what you've been posting or see what you know, so now I can send him a message and say, hey Joe, what have you been posting lately? And act like I don't know. Again, I'm kind of picking on him, but I'm not really, he's a great guy. So I wanted to show you this part right here. Does everybody know what a CRM is?
Yep.
You do, because you said Salesforce. A customer relationship management database. Salesforce is probably the most robust one in the world. I actually worked with Salesforce for several years, and I'm very familiar with it. But there's lots of them out there. There's Microsoft Dynamics, there's all kinds of, but basically what it is a database for you to put information about your customers or your clients, and then about their buying habits and.
Most people that don't know CRMs usually think of ACT. It's Salesforce is ACT on steroids. Software as a
Oh
service.
boy, it is steroids is mild. It is Salesforce is amazing. So I wanted to show you that LinkedIn is trying to do a little bit of a CRM, little. So, but it's good for small business who don't have anything that they're using right now. So when you go to someone, you have to be connected with them. You can actually open up this little window here, and you can put in notes about someone. And it's only seen it's only you're visible, only to you, not to them, not to anyone else. So if I wanted to put a note on here, on Joe's profile, I could say, Joe has not been using LinkedIn. And I could put the date here, and just save it. And see what it says right there, it's only visible to you. So I've got a little note here, and I've got a reminder here that I actually put in when he and I were doing training. I said, I'm going to put a reminder to get with you in a month. Obviously, it's overdue, and I didn't do it. But you can this is where you would put a reminder in. So if you had someone you needed to call or follow up with on something, you put it in there, and you can put it in for a day, a month, a week, recurring, which is really nice, to follow up with people on things, see how they're doing. You can put how they met, who introduced you, which is also a nice thing to keep track of if you've got a lot of clients or you're in sales or you're just running a small business. Tag is one of my favorite things. Does anybody use tag in here? Okay, it's not Facebook tag. Don't be confused because a lot of people go, oh yeah, I know what that. No, you don't. Tag. You set up tags within LinkedIn. These are all things that I have set up, and I'll show you the bottom of it because I have a lot of them. People can be in multiple tags, and you just add a new tag by you just put in whatever you want to put in, and then you add that person. So you go through your connections, and you hit tag, and you put them in whatever categories you want to put them in. So why would you do that? There's a lot of reasons, but the main reason I do it is because if I need to send a message out to just a certain group of people, like say for instance, an example would be if everybody here connected with me, and I went in and tagged you as this class, then if I needed to send a message and say, hey, here's an addendum, maybe I forgot a sheet, I wanted you guys to all have this sheet, only you guys would get that message. And you could correspond, and I could correspond back to the whole group. That's one example. There's a lot of other reasons to use it. I'm always looking, like if I wanted to pull up my Eastman contacts, I could pull up my Eastman contacts, click on that, and only their profiles are going to come up. So I could look at them as well and go in and see who's been using LinkedIn and doing what they're supposed to be doing and so forth. So it's a great way to kind of keep track of people as well. Anybody have any questions on any of this?
That's like creating groups, right?
Yeah, yes, well, the word group is kind of confusing within LinkedIn because but it's creating a group of people for you. Yeah.
Maybe it's how you met them, or.
Well,
Well, it'd be good like to put like birthday, so you don't forget a person's
okay,
birthday.
if you wanted to put people's birthdays, put it in the notes sections. And I do
Right.
I tell people, if you are direct sales or you're working with people and you don't have a CRM, this is where you should be putting that information. Put in personal things about them, that they're a, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, huge fan, or their, wife's getting ready to have a baby in December or something, just make sure that, you keep up with that kind of stuff too, because you don't want to call them and go, oh, how's that baby? And the baby's 10 years old,
Right.
So just, things like that. I actually tell people also, like, if someone's going through cancer treatment or their mother is or something, put that kind of stuff in there because it's only seen by you, and it's really, but I always put a little date next to it so that kind of, because it doesn't populate the date too well. It does it puts it here, but when you open it up, that date doesn't really show, so I just put a little date next to it. It's kind of nice to.
And on the reminder, do you get a notification?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You get a notification in your email that says, hey, you need to contact so-and-so, or, and it's really nice. It's really, really nice. If you're on LinkedIn a lot like I am, this is really a great resource. And it's opened up a lot of things. And I'm trying to teach people how to use this a lot better. And especially the tagging. The tagging can be, I actually got taught how to use the tagging from a guy in Knoxville. And he ran a marketing, marketing association in Knoxville. And he went in his contacts, and it took time, but everybody who was a member of that association, he tagged them, and then he could send them direct messages about events and things like that were going on. And
I didn't know any of that stuff was on LinkedIn.
yeah, most people don't. But you have to go to someone else. Isn't like if we were connected, which I hope we do get connected.
I just sent you one.
Okay. And then I could go in and make notes about you where we met and stuff like that. And I love it when people send me connect with me right away from a class, because I'll remember. A class like this is small enough that I'll remember your face. If you don't have your dog's picture as your profile, I'll know it's you. And yeah, you better have your cute little face on there. That's all I got to say. And so then I can go in and tag and put, that we were in a LinkedIn class. Yeah.
You said you can send notices to, like, if I want to send something, if I have, like, I'm the Realtor Association, so if I have realtors on there and I want to send them a tag, how do I send them the message? Because a message.
Yeah, well, when you go to send message, that's a whole other class, because it's a little bit detailed, but what is your name?
Lisa.
Lisa, will you connect with me and we can talk about doing that, because that's kind of, it gets into a little bit more than I want to get into, but I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so this is a great section. Take advantage of it, utilize it, use it, and so now you can go in here and see, Joe's got his information populated. It's really easy to get a hold of him. He's done really good. Look at that. He's done everything I told him to do. And right here, I want to show you, this is brand new, right out of the box. If it says edit right here, this only is for you to edit it. So if I wanted to edit it, I could actually say, for instance, I know for a fact that email address isn't right or something. I could go in and edit it and correct it, but it only is going to show up on my profile. It's not going to correct Joe's profile. But it's basically correcting the CRM component they're trying to do on my end. But you see that every once in a while when people will leave a job but they don't update things, and you're still in touch with them. So I haven't done that yet, but I did want to show it to you that it was a possibility. Now I'm going to go back to my profile because I want to show you something really quick in here. And what do we have till 1:30?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody falling asleep yet? No. Okay. I was going to have you stand up and stretch if you are. All right. right here. So, most people, it's a default, when you connect on here, it'll say company website. So what you need to do is go into the edit mode, and you drop this drop down all the way to the bottom, because it's normally going to be right here to company website, and you hit other. And once you hit other, it actually allows you, this little thing will pop up, this second, and you populate it with the name that you want there. So the name of your business should be there, and then your URL, and then once you hit save, it comes up. You can do 3 websites, by the way, too, which is handy. Was it Robert who left? See, I must have insulted him.
He's back, he's come back.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He left his notebooks, he'll be back.
He left those sunglasses too. If he leaves them here, I got dibs, okay?
And his phone.
They look nice. Came home to my husband. Look, God bought you today.
I never returned to class, but I brought you a nice pair of sunglasses.
That's right. You might as well have fun, right? Hold on. I guess I didn't save something. Oh, it's trying to save. Ugh. Hope it's not hung up. Ain't nobody got time for this kind of stuff, you know, when it just spins and spins and spins. I should have just hit cancel. I know. So did everybody know about this little section? You are just learning so much today, aren't you? Look at you. Look at you. I love it. I love it when I see like people learning stuff. Did you know about it? All right, it is hung up here. Let's see what we can do. Darn it. All right, let's see if we can move along without it. We already talked about customizing your URL. Again, you can get to it right here. Like I told you, there's about 6 different ways to do things. You can get to it right here if you want to, or you can go through that other little, and then there's another way too, which we're not going to go into that. But since this is still, if you know of any way for me to get out of that, I'll be happy to kickstart it. But let's move along, because I think the next section, even though I can't pull it up, it's going to be right under your contact. It's going to be your summary section. We touched on this briefly. You need to write your summary as your story. Your summary is 2,000 characters and max. So what I want you to do is explain any gaps of employment, frequent job changes, any of the expertise that you have, your successes, and use keywords. I am really big on people using keywords. So even before you start writing your summary, or even working on your profile a lot, come up with 5 to 10 keywords that brand you or your company that you want to use throughout your profile. And so maybe in my situation it's like marketing, LinkedIn, social media, different things like that. So everybody has unique words that they can use with it. It could be expertise, skills, whatever you need to put on there. But your summary is a real important part to kind of tell your story. And I'm not going to be able to pull my
Cindy,
up.
can you just refresh the page? You didn't make any changes, did you?
I didn't, but I hit save instead of cancel, and I shouldn't have. But I
would
didn't make any changes.
I would just hit F5 and do a refresh.
Okay, so F5.
5.
Okay. All these.
Should refresh your page.
I can try to open it in a different window if,
Oh, there you go.
maybe that would be the thing to do.
No, sometimes in some software, hitting escape will cancel the last command.
Hitting escape.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. No. Just love it when things happen. There you go. Here we go. See if I can close that. Yes, I want to leave that page. I don't need you anymore. Okay. So, now I want to show you my summary. The summary is so important, you guys. I can't stress to you enough. And I have some cheats on summary. So what I recommend for people to do on your summary is to write it in first person. Do not write it, Cindy is this, Cindy is that. Oh my gosh, if you read that, it just does, it's just all kinds of crazy stuff, right? I'm gonna view my profile not in the edit mode so that you guys can see it. Okay, so I'm viewing it as someone who's connected to me now. And that way you can see my summary. Okay, so my summary was a perfect opportunity for me to kind of tell my story. So if you were here earlier and I talked a little bit about my husband being retired Navy, you know, we've had to move around and all that kind of stuff. I actually touched on that a little bit on here because I thought it was a great way to explain employment changes. If you look at my profile and you start looking at my experience, you're like, oh, she changes jobs every 2 years, or, you know, what the heck's wrong with her? She can't get along with anybody, why does she move around, you know? Well, I'm really wanted in like 5 states. That's the real truth behind it. But my summary, I thought, was a great opportunity for me to kind of tell the story. 2,000 characters is actually quite a bit. If it, you know, you may think, oh, that's not very much. So what I tell people to do is write it in Word, and then you do your character count. And the other thing is you can do bullets, and you can do spell check, and you can do things like that really aren't, you know, they're not opportune to be used in LinkedIn. They do a little bit of that kind of stuff, but not much. But if you do it in Word, then you can copy and paste it and import it, you know, in here pretty easily. So you can go in, and I normally tell people to keep your personal story to a minimum. But in my situation, I did need to talk. I thought about my husband's career because it made me have to change jobs a lot, and it's kind of understanding when that happens. So this is pretty much right at 2,000 characters, so you can see it's a lot of information. And it's also like, I don't know how many people are actually going to sit there and read that much information, but I like to have a complete summary because I like for people to be able to use it as an example. Because I tell people, when you're writing your summary, it's going to be your story, but if you need kind of a guide on kind of how to flow into it, you know, go and use mine. And I like to kind of go from the beginning to the end and kind of what I'm doing here. And then just recently I was actually, this is exciting. There was a book that was published by the AICPA, and they contacted me and interviewed me for the LinkedIn section. So I was the LinkedIn expert in this book that was published. When the book came out, I was so excited that I was the only LinkedIn. Each chapter was on different parts of social media and how to utilize it for business, and I was the only LinkedIn person that they highlighted in the book. I was really thrilled. I thought, I'm going to buy copies for everybody, you know, send it out. The book is $69. I'm not buying copies for everybody. Forget it. I was like, oh gosh, you know, even my dad's not going to get a copy of this. I like made copies of my page and sent it to my family because I'm like, I can't afford to buy, you know, for everybody. But it is a really cool book, and it's actually for CPA firms, but I will say it talks so much about business that it's really cool. But anyway, I'm giving that a plug, but boy, is that expensive book. What questions do you have on your summary? It's usually the hardest thing for people to do because you have to really kind of brag on yourself. People have a hard time doing that, most people. And but it's hard, you know, it's hard to make it informative and for other people want to. So I will give you this, since this is a small class. If you're writing your summary and you want me to take a look at it, send it to me, and before you publish it or even after, it doesn't matter. And I'll be happy to take a peek at it and kind of critique it for you. And I want to make sure it flows. And since I don't know you, if it flows and I understand it, then it's probably great. And it's always good to have someone else kind of take a peek at it. Plus, there's nothing worse than looking at somebody's profile and they're like a little typo or this or that, you know, and you're kind of like, oh, they didn't see that. But I will point it out to you if I see one, just like I would want you to point it out to me, because that's respect of being a professional. But summary is super important. So now the next section that I want you to make sure you have on your profile is your experience section. So your experience is your jobs, your particular jobs that you have had in the past or have currently. And each one is like a little different subsection of the experience section. So, Robert, right? So when you're talking about the different jobs, you can actually go in here and it's all on date. So you can have them, you know, the current positions showing up in here. You have that already? No, because you haven't looked at it in a year.
I mean, some of it I think I did before.
Yeah.
I took a year off, I haven't worked a year, so.
You haven't worked in a
I
year?
just started working again about a month ago.
Wow, okay. Cool. They, been like traveling?
Moved, got married, took some time off.
Okay, cool, good. So you don't, well, that'll be a hard thing to explain, but you should explain that gap of what you've been doing, but, in your summary. So, but you have to get creative. I just tell people, explain it and be honest. You know, I was a stay-at-home mother for 10 years. You know, I don't really explain that too much in here because it was a long time ago. But if it was relevant and I was trying to get back in the workforce, say it. You know, say, I've been home with my kids for 10 years. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's definitely nothing wrong. I mean, it's very admirable, I think, when people do that. You know, I could only stay home for, I was about to kill, again, I'm like, oh, this is not good. I gotta get away. I gotta talk to adults, you know, every once in a while. Babies are great, but when you have several jobs, you know, you just go in here, and I'm not in the edit mode, but let me go back to the edit mode so we can see how easy it is to go back into here. Let me go out of here. So now that I'm jumped back to edit, it looks a little messier with edit. That's the only reason why I went to the other one. But I do want you to see that it's so easy to change it every time you see a little pencil. This is what I was talking about before, like this and this self-populate up into that header section that we were talking about. So if you have to get a little creative on kind of what you do, you need to look at it and see how that populates up there. And this right here you may have to, like this one I play around with a lot because I'm not really sure how I want that worded. And so I go and I just change it or play around with it. You might have to get a little creative with yours as well. But look at it after you populate those and you save it and how it populates up on your header section. It's real important that it needs to flow, and you don't want to waste that valuable real estate up there either. So this right here, you know, when we went to my son's and he had a bunch of photos and stuff, this is where you populate things like that. So if you've got white papers or videos or share, you know, you can do your Slideshare presentations and you can share things right on here. I've got a couple. So this one is a LinkedIn presentation I did on April 16th. I need to take it down because it's old. But I usually like to put something up here just so people can have an example of what it looks like when you populate this with something. So it's really easy. You just click on it and you find the document you want to populate and throw it in there, or the video, or whatever it is. But it's neat to do that. So like my oldest daughter is a designer. So when she was looking for a job out of college, I actually told her to publish some of her artwork and some of her projects and things like that on there, so that people who were looking for her, you know, field of expertise could go in there and see some of her work. So it's a great way to kind of put things out there of what you do, or you know, it has, you know, Slideshare is another good thing. I will put. I did a LinkedIn presentation. I rarely do a PowerPoint for LinkedIn because I like it to be more interactive, where you can really see it. But I did do a LinkedIn presentation for some executives at Eastman not too long ago, and so you know, I might go ahead and populate something like that in here. So it just depends on what your expertise is. If you do videos, you might even want to do something.
I've got several.
Yeah, see, that's great. It's a great opportunity for people.
Is Slideshow Slideshare,
Mhm.
is it
It
cahoots
should be
with-
show though, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be.
Kind of like that.
Is
better.
it cahoots with Google? Because I get good ratings when I do stuff on.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it
I think
is.
it's actually a Google product.
That's
Slideshare.
probably why I get.
I know,
good
and I don't get paid by any of these people, but there's just certain products and certain things that I do recommend, and I do think Slideshare is a great product.
I don't know, go into Google Circles or Google Plus and see, because you've got your account settings on the top on Google, and it shows all the different platforms.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Slideshare is.
It probably is. They're getting, I mean, they're all kind of owning everything nowadays, buying everything up. Anybody have questions on your experience section? I think this is super important. The other thing is that I see people put their jobs, but they don't put what they do. So this is another opportunity for you to kind of, I hate to say brag about yourself, but if you've accomplished some things or you've done some things or you need to talk about it, because your mama is not on here talking about it. She can't do it. So, I mean, my kid's mama is, but I can't go, but you know what I mean? Like, this is your opportunity to brand yourself and what you do and what you're good at, and take advantage of it. If you have trouble doing it, again, I can help you, because, like, if you start to write something, send it to me, and I can kind of market it up a little bit so that it'll make you feel a little bit better if someone else kind of helps you write it, so, because people are very modest. I'm shocked. I'm always like, you've done that? I'm always just like, that's going to be in your obituary, but no one's going to know about it unless you tell them. And if it's in your obituary, then, that's great, but, let's talk about it now. I was teaching a class the other day, and the little section comes up and says, do you have any patents? And I'm like, have you had any patents? And this guy goes, well, I've got 16 patents. I'm like, what? And I was like, we need to put these out here. So we worked on them and got them out there. He was a genius. He works out at Eastman, and he's got all this stuff that he's patented. I was like, this is phenomenal. Talk about it. You know what? Talk about it. And you're not bragging. I mean, women have more difficult than men about this. Why? Because we're always told to just, be a good girl and just, But really, ladies, and I'm happy to help you. I like to empower people, but I'll help the men too. But I really like to help the women, because I can take something and go, no, you need to write it this way.
What was that old saying John Wayne always used to say in the movie? Not brag, just fact. No brag, just fact.
And you know what? There's a lot of truth behind that, because you're really not bragging if you're talking about something you actually did. And how someone interprets it is what bothers me is if someone writes it in third person and they talk about it like, oh, and I'm kind of always like, oh, I have a hard time reading that. But if someone's got theirs written in third person, I apologize, but I do really, everything you read is like, don't do that.
How far back do you go with your experience?
It's a very good question. And I tell people, go back as far as you want to. If you're a little old like me, I'm not going to go back to, I don't need to go back too far. I also tell people, if you're looking for if you're trying to stay in a certain industry, so maybe your experience needs to go back 15 years to grab some experience that you had, then that would be the only time, in my opinion, to really kind of include going really far back. I read something not too long ago about because I help people write resumes too, and when you're in your 50s like I am, I may not want to say I have over 25 years of experience something, because I guarantee you someone around 25 or 30s look at that and go, oh my gosh, So you want to say I have over 15 years of experience or something, so, which is, she's laughing over there, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because
She came over on the ark.
yes, actually, she is like the same age as my grandmother, and I would not be hiring my grandmother, So, but
We'll
you have
to replace her in a few years.
kick her under the table for me. But that's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. So whether you're writing a resume or even your LinkedIn profile is basically your online resume. So stick to the industry that you want to really brand yourself in. I've corrected a lot of profiles where people have gone back back, and they talk about their, you know, their time at McDonald's and their high school and stuff, and I'm like, unless you were right out of college, you really don't need to be putting anything about high school on there, you know? I mean, seriously, don't be living that dream still. It's gone, you know? So, if that was the highlight of your entire life,
You got a problem.
I don't think your LinkedIn profile is gonna help you at all. So, I wanted to show you this really quick too. So if you get recommendations, I highly, highly suggest that you do try to get some and give some as well. They'll show up under your experience, what job you were associated with at the time. But they also show up under your recommendations. So we've got a few minutes left, and I have to talk about skills. This is another. I want you to perk up if you're napping. Wake up your neighbor if they're napping. Wake up. Because this is so important. Okay. Okay. So wake up. Put the camera on her. Skills and endorsements, previously called skills and expertise. So right here is your opportunity to put in those keywords again, but again, you know, skills and things that you do, okay? Why this is important is because if you do not populate this section and brand yourself, LinkedIn will pull words out of your profile and try to brand it for you. And they will send these words to your connections and say, hey, do you want to endorse so-and-so for this? And it may not be anything that you really do. For example, when I was in Oak Ridge, I was doing a LinkedIn training for a government contractor who was a nuclear waste facility. And the little gal who worked there, when I was explaining this to her, she raised her hand. She said, okay, now I know. I said, what? And she said, I have like 50 endorsements for waste. And I'm like, because she didn't populate this section or populate, and so now they pulled the word waste out of the name of the company, which was something nuclear waste, and they've sent it all out. She goes, who wants to be known for that? You know, so we had to go in and back out, and you can do that. If you haven't populated this section and you need to back out some stuff, I'm going to show you right now how to do it. But it also, so important. Okay, so if you're in the edit mode, you're going to go in and hit add a skill. And right here, this is brand new, brand new. So if you want to be endorsed, you hit yes or no. I encourage people to say yes because it'll send things out. It's again branding you as long as you populate these words. Include me in endorsement suggestions to my connections. You know, so these are however you want to check them. I say yes, but whatever you want to do. So if you want to endorse other people, then put it on there. So here we go. Please pay attention. This is so important. So what you do is start populating. You're allowed 50 skills. You see where it says I can add 3 more? So I'm going to put marketing, even though marketing is already on here. I just kind of show you that what it does is it's trying to populate and look for other things that people are known for. That's a common thing on LinkedIn, okay? So you could find the one that's on here. You could click on it and add it, or it could be marketing whatever, and it's not on there, and you can still add it. So it doesn't have to be one within. Yes.
So is putting in something like that a good way to find out the new buzzwords? You know, we were talking about terminology and what to use because, for example.
Yeah, keywords.
Yeah.
Not necessarily buzzwords, but yeah, it could be. This is what other people have used, basically.
More
The
up
key-
to date, yeah.
I think the keywords are on there, they're gonna be highlighted. In other words, you put in marketing, keywords that connect with marketing, they're gonna pull up into search engines and other optimization are gonna be highlighted there.
But marketing isn't highlighted, so I don't, yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, you just made that up. Okay.
I was kinda asking to say, and maybe that's it, you know.
Cool.
that's one of
I
the
know,
things.
there's a reason, and I don't know why it's highlighted, but that's that's a very good question. This is all a new section, so it's all.
only highlighted because it's the word that's added to the marketing word.
Okay.
So the marketing's not highlighted because you
Genius
typed that
over
in.
there. Genius. I'm so
Well,
glad you
it's
woke up to
somebody's
tell us
mom.
that.
I know, I was snoozing real hard.
Yeah, you were.
Um,
Told her to kick you and wake you up.
It's
So
always
it's just
somebody's
adding
mom.
words to
To
your-
whatever
To whatever you.
whatever word you put up there.
Yeah.
You don't have to use these words. So I want to stress that. And if I tried to use marketing, it's gonna tell me it's already up there, so it's not gonna let me. But I wanted to see duplicate skill. So, but what I want you to know how important this is. So then when you see things like 99 plus or whatever, those are the number of people who have endorsed you for that skill. So I want you to, normally it goes in order of those numbers, but I've been playing with mine because when I do a class, I switch mine around to show people. So the other day, I was in a class, and you see, I'm going to show you, I've got LinkedIn training up here, and it's only got 4, right? Which makes me really sad. But this is why, is because I had added LinkedIn training, and it automatically just went to the bottom. And I was doing a class one day, and I was explaining, and someone said to me, well, your LinkedIn training is so far at the bottom. I'm like, you are right. So what you do is you can grab this and move it. See how that happens? So what I did in that class was I grabbed LinkedIn training and pushed it up to the top because I want that pushed out to my connection so I get more endorsements for LinkedIn training. So if there's something that you have skill sets for, make sure those are up at the top. Even if you don't have the big numbers next to it, if you push it up to the top, then it'll get pushed out more, and then you'll get endorsed for it more. Does that make sense?
So it's
So-
a hierarchy.
Yes.
You're setting the hierarchy of how you want it presented.
For you, yes. So not necessarily for the number of people who have endorsed you. So again, if somebody has, if something's up here that you didn't put up there, you just take the little X and you take it out. If waste is up there and you don't want it up there, I want you guys to remember that story when you're doing this, because that's why.
It's like, she's known for that.
Yeah, waste. She's pretty wasteful. Yeah, I know. I know that for a fact. She's pretty wasteful. Yes.
Absolutely.
So I want. I don't even know where creative direction came from. I did not put that in there, but what does that mean? So, like, I could take that out, and I just did. So that went away. So those 3 people who endorsed me, they don't get notified or anything. They don't go like, what? You know, but at the same time, that's gone, and that's how simple it is, and I can add more if I want. Be sure whatever you do when you're in here playing around that you save it, and then, you know, I'm not going to save anything because I got into trouble last time I saved something. What questions do you have for this? Because we've got like 2 minutes left, and this is a super important section.
How do you remove comments that are not correct? Or they're kind of libelous that someone has pasted on LinkedIn of you?
How would they do that?
But you have to approve them.
Oh, you have to.
For recommendations?
Yeah, you have to approve them before they go on your profile.
Yes. A
And then I've even
recommendation,
had
you're
some-
talking about a recommendation, and a recommendation is something that someone, it goes to you and says, hey, do you want to put this on your profile? So-and-so has recommended you.
Oh, so they don't have free reign at all. They could not get in there. You have to approve everything, unlike like Facebook.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're talking about comments versus a recommendation.
Two
Those are
different platforms.
2 different platforms, 2 different things.
Two
Now,
different-
someone could come in and if you posted something and put a comment that you didn't like, but you just hit delete if you didn't want it on there. I've done that before. Not that they've said anything bad about me, but they've said something like stupid that wasn't relevant to the post. That drives me crazy.
Check out my new lighting.
Yeah, you know, and I'm like, seriously?
I
And
just
there's a-
posted my new job.
but people can't do that on LinkedIn. They,
Okay, well, I thought I should ask because it might come up.
yeah, a recommendation is a favorable thing, and you have to approve it to put it on your,
Any type of comment they post, you can eliminate if you do not wish for it to be there.
yes.
Okay.
If it's on your wall or your newsfeed, even on Facebook you can.
Cindy,
You control that.
Before we totally run out of time, I know groups is on there, and
I
to
know.
me, groups is one of the most important things
Groups is
that-
super
for
important.
me. I
Groups
just wanted
is
you
so
to,
important. So, yes, we'll go over groups super fast. Groups are not companies. They're either associations or nonprofits or alumni groups, networking groups, or maybe it's just a group of people with a common like of something. So anybody can start a group. That's the other thing. So if you wanted to start a group about something in your industry or something, you know, maybe you like Pomeranians or something, and you want to start a Pomeranian group, you can search up there, see if it's already out there, and start it. So when you go into groups, you're allowed to join 50 groups, and I love groups. Once you join a group, you have access to everybody within that group, and it's just a great way to kind of network with like-minded people. So if you're not in any groups, I encourage you to start out with something like a networking group. When you want to search, so this is how you find groups. Go into groups, and we're going to just put, we're going to see if there's any groups out there with the word Abingdon in it.
there's also a
Oh, is there another?
in UK, there's a
Oh.
Abington and
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So, but this is just an example. So here we go. Is this y'all? I mean, not y'all, but is this our area? But you can click on
I would
it.
say it's another country.
Can you click on view? That doesn't look like anything.
Yeah, but say if
Abingdon, Virginia friends down there is us.
okay. So it is really not that relevant. It's more of like I'm just kind of showing you what words you can put in there to look. So if you were looking for some local groups, you could you would go in there, and you'd have to go in and view that group to see if it's you guys area or if you guys. That's really proper English, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
You're among friends.
You guys.
Use guys.
Use guys. This looks like England
Yeah, it is.
because this says Oxford here. So you know, you probably wouldn't want to join that one. But the thing that it tells you here is like how many members are in there, what discussions are active. So you really, you know, unless that's kind of I wouldn't join that group unless somebody was trying to build it, you know, and I knew they were going to actively. So many people start a group and they don't do anything else with it. Don't build it and think they're going to come, because it doesn't happen that way. It's not like a Cracker Barrel, you know. I mean, let's face it, you can build that anywhere and people will come. A group is not that. A group, you have to build it. So if I'll give you an example. The first group that I ever built was when I was in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and I wanted to test out groups, and I started one on government contractors in Hampton Roads. And so what I did is I started reaching out to other people within the industry. I started joining other groups and then finding other people who were like-minded to join my group. So I would send them, and there's a way, once you're the administrator on the group, to invite people to join your group. And I wanted people to post. I wanted it to be relevant information. I wanted events. I wanted legislation. I wanted, you know, and I didn't want to just be me. So, you know, I reached out to a lawyer in DC who was blogging about this and asked him if he would post, and just things like that to get stuff. Reached out to a lot of groups and said, hey, feel free to put your events on here, things like that, because you want it to be relevant for whatever the group is. So, but you have to work it. And that turned out to be a very successful group, and at one time was the largest group in the state of Virginia. But I haven't been working it for a long time. But anyway, groups are super, super important, and I could do a whole class on groups. I mean, that's super, super important. Questions on groups? Questions on anything?
I do. I got an awesome LinkedIn email from a gentleman that I'm connected with on LinkedIn, and basically was a recommendation and about the work experience he and I had and everything. Very, very good. What section would you put that email in?
Ask him.
Under LinkedIn.
I would send it back to him and ask him if you could put it in a recommendation. If
Okay.
you've already got the wording, you could say, send it to him. You could actually populate the recommendation part with bits of the email. and it'll send to him for approval. Is he on LinkedIn? Are you connected? Okay, that's
Okay.
how I would do it.
Okay.
Because why have him rewrite it when it's already written? And, but utilize it, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay.
Any other questions?
So, just briefly, and maybe I can't do it from my phone, that's why I can't find it, but let's say you have accepted somebody's connection request and you realize you don't want to be connected. How do you disconnect?
Well, it's an act of Congress.
Sorry.
Are you talking about me? You're talking about me? Dan. So you go to your connections
Okay.
and,
They don't know, they don't receive a notification, do they?
nope, right here.
Where it says more, I see. I've just never been able to find it.
I didn't want to connect with him. Anyway.
Okay.
I've been wanting to do it anyway. It was a perfect opportunity.
Hope he's not watching.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I usually just use it on my phone, and apparently there's some things with your phone that you can't do.
Do you see how easy that
you can even do
was?
with a pad, yeah.
You just find them and remove. They don't get notified. None of that. There's no drama. And I believe in quality, not quantity. So make sure, that's why I got rid of that person, because he was a salesperson. I do connect with a lot of people because just people see me out and about. Doesn't mean that it's a relevant connection. But
So if there's a group that you want to not follow anymore, is there an?
oh, you can go, yeah, you can jump in and out of groups really easy. You just go to manage groups and say, I want to leave this group, you're gone. And they don't get notified or anything either.
So I just want to tell you that we've had about 11 people watching on live stream, and I posted it to Facebook, and the girl that spoke last week said she's rocking it. So the people that are watching online are very,
Are they still live streaming?
Yes.
Hey, Valentina.
Anyway, I think this has been a great class. This has probably been one of the classes that we've had the audience's attention for the whole time, and we've gone over.
I don't
So
know.
that tells me we need to have Cindy back again.
I'm happy to come back.
But thank you for participating today in our new knowledge class.
Thank you.
And what's next week's class?
Next week, two things I want to mention. The next one will be August the 12th. That's session 3 of our QuickBooks. If you've been coming to the last two, you don't want to miss. Keep going. Also, we're having a workshop on August the 26th. It's on creating a promotional video, and Karen Kennedy with Starscape Media is going to be presenting that, so we're excited about that.
August 26th?
Yes.
That's a good one.
Is that a new knowledge?
Yes,
It
all of these are new knowledge, and you can pick up one of the
New
things.
knowledge.
Yes,
I learned
or
that
you can go to the,
It's also new. At noon.
but you can also find all of these and register at the vastartup.org website. It's good for us, especially our speakers, to know how many will be participating. If you like today's workshop, and if you want Cindy back, tell us. Please take a moment, complete our survey, or you can scan the QR code and actually do it on your
How
smart.
cool is that?
You can scan it and do it on your smartphone or tablet, but we love the feedback, because that's how Kathy and Nita and I put together our new series that started in June for the sessions, because that's what we're doing, it is to try to help
Yeah, and you know, LinkedIn has so many components too, so if you ever wanted to do one just on groups or just on creating a company page and things like that, I've done classes on company profiles.
You opened your mouth, you've
Yeah,
got
so.
But I'm serious, there's a huge need for that because LinkedIn has done a whole lot of stuff, and you talk about SEO with company pages, it's huge. So, big stuff.
So thanks for coming, thank you.
Yeah,
Please
thank
show
you.
Cindy your appreciation.
Thank you for having me. And thanks to